Hello everybody, welcome back to another video, new surrounding clearly. But I just wanted to thank everybody that has been watching the videos, who has been subscribed. And I know like this is a little different for me. It's a little difficult for me to show up every week, but I am pushing through. And this is just a reminder to just keep doing the things that you feel uncomfortable doing, that you feel shy doing. And if you have not subscribed to this video or to my channel, that you should go ahead and do that now, because why not support? But let's jump right into it. Today's topic, well, before I get into the name of the topic, I'm going to say how much I used to hate hearing that I was sensitive. Anything that had to do with feelings, I hated it. So anytime that I was told that I was sensitive or that I was being emotional or anything like that, it just used to trigger me so bad. But then as I got older, I started to realize that having feelings is not bad. It's actually a way for you to be in tune with yourself, be in tune with your body, be in tune with God, and then also like the people that you're close with. Because you have to understand your emotions, you have to understand yourself in order to be understood, in order to communicate better, and in order for you to show that you're human. Like, you're supposed to have feelings. And I think sometimes we get so caught up in being cold, or just, well, not so much anymore, but just not showing emotions too quickly and like all the things. And I just like, it's amazing how much I don't even believe in that anymore. Like, I am so quick to tell somebody I love you even though I just met them. But let's not get sidetracked. Today's video is called Get in Your Feelings but Get Out Quickly. But yeah, back to what I was saying. I feel like emotions, having emotions and expressing emotions is very important. And I feel like we all need to get in tune with it. Aside from actually like feeling your feelings, getting them under control is just as important. Especially for me, I work in healthcare, and if you know, you know, you are going to be tested in so many different ways, dealing with so many different people, so many different personalities, whether it's the doctors, the co-workers, the patients. It's just so many things for you to be able to control, and for you to regulate your emotions is like a non-negotiable, because crashing out in the workplace is like not it. Well, crashing out at all is not it, but in the workplace is definitely not it. And I won't lie, I've had my moments, not where I went crazy on like patients or anything like that, but just to the point where I needed to walk out and just have a moment and just didn't want to deal with whatever it was at the moment. But there was still so much that I could have learned from that situation instead of walking out. Maybe a little bit later I'll tell the story about that. There's so many different emotions out there, triggers, anger, so many different personalities, and not being able to communicate along with someone that's already angry and all of these things, it just does nobody any justice whatsoever. I think that it's a little easy sometimes to want to match people's energy and just get on their level and just feel like it's almost the right thing to do. Like, someone else being angry gives you the green light to go ahead and be angry, but like, no, that's not it. And I think most of the times the people that react that way is because you don't have self-control, in a long story short. And again, I think that is extremely dangerous. All these things are going to happen, all these angry people, the disappointments, the things that are going to make you unhappy, all of these things are going to happen in life, but unnecessary, unattractive, and unhealthy for you to react to every little thing that makes you upset. Every little thing that makes you upset and every person that makes you upset. It's just not realistic. It's unhealthy. It's unhealthy for you. It's unhealthy for the person that you're in a relationship, whether it be platonic or romantically. It's unhealthy to let your children see this. It's just not a good place to be in. And I think people that are quick to react with anger shows a lot about like what's going on in their mind and going on in their heart. And I told myself that anytime I looked at an angry person, I can tell that you're going through a lot, and me not reacting to that is just a reflection of like all the work that I've been doing on myself. And it's not to say that I'm this perfect person and they're wrong and I'm right. I think that people's feelings are valid to a certain extent, but again, the way that you react to it, like, not everything deserves a reaction. Growing up, my emotions were not as valid, especially growing up in New York. I don't know who's watching this video, but it was like I was either nonchalant or I was tight, meaning I was mad. But there wasn't really a in between for when I got upset or disappointed or angry. That was just that. Those are the two options. Is either I was extremely quiet or I was probably going off on somebody. And again, I had to realize like but not even myself, but seeing other people react in a crazy way, I'm just like, ew, that's what I look like when I get angry. Mm, no, it's just bad vibes all across the board. I honestly can't stand being around people that are constantly angry, constantly reactive to other people that are angry. Um, if my twin is watching this, she knows I hate being on the phone with her when she is driving because the road rage anger is real. And I think those are like one of the emotions that are hard for me to control is like when someone is driving stupid. So let's just take that off the board. But nowadays, people are literally dying over road rage. So there's a limit. I feel like people again are going to get you upset, but to the point where you're like chasing somebody down, cursing them out mad crazy, and like death, that's crazy. Like you got to control yourself. But yeah, back to emotions. When I was growing up, there was really no conversation about like how you're feeling, whether you're uncomfortable, sad, depressed, angry. Especially in my household, it was just sort of like you there was just like no discussion. And again, growing up in a Caribbean household, most of them being able to express themselves was usually in a loud tone. So seeing that and seeing it from your parents, eventually as like you get older, you start to think that it's okay for you to communicate in that way. And thank God my parents weren't really like loud people, but she would get loud with us from time to time. And so I found myself like whether I was having a disagreement when I was in a relationship, I wasn't really into like arguments and things like that, but I would find myself starting to like get loud. And it's like just because you're loud, it doesn't mean that you're right. So it just like literally serves no purpose and it's just unnecessary. Me being uncomfortable, going through depression, going through anxiety, going through sadness, going through like all of the emotions, like these were things that I suppressed. And because they weren't talked about, I didn't understand that they were normal. I didn't know what it looked like to be sad and like all of these things. I didn't know what it looked like to be able to express it to someone. And I would say that I wish it was normalized, but even now, being able to put some type of definition and reason behind whatever it is that I was going through is already enough for me, being that I don't have children at the moment. I am able to understand myself a little bit more, look out for certain signs when I see it in like my future kids or my nieces and nephews. I can recognize like what they may be going through, but the things that they may not be saying. So I think even if you haven't been through it, having conversations with people that have, to kind of like help your friend, help your spouse, help your children, help people that are around you, because it was extremely hard for me to even recognize and talk about and learn about like what I was going through, let alone being able to like put it into words. And then even putting it into words, saying it with people that I actually trusted, because then it's like you're not sure if they're going to be able to receive it, you're not sure if they're going to be able to understand, and then where does the conversation go after that? So I used to have all these thoughts in my head when I finally figured it out. And it's like also having trust issues with not knowing who to say these things to is like very important, and not trying to put the blame and say, oh, nobody understands me and things like that. Biggest thing outside of actually knowing what you're going through and being able to vocalize it is also not knowing that there's a problem as well. So like sometimes we normalize the cursing out at road rage, we normalize the getting loud and like crashing out and like all these things, but not understanding that all of the suppressed emotions from like all the other things, your childhood, your relationships, all these other things that may have happened years ago is now spilling out into like areas that it doesn't need to spill out. So trying to also, aside from like doing some self-reflection, understanding how or seeing how people react when you do get a little loud or lash out, and then if someone is willing to be brave be brave enough to tell you how they feel about how you've been acting, being receptive to that as well. So aside from checking yourself, being open to like people also telling you how they feel about what's going on and wanting to know about you, and what you're going through. The reality and the problem is that we tend to mimic what we're around. So again, I don't want to call it a New York thing, but let's just use New York as an example. Growing up in a Caribbean household, being loud, probably, yelling at your kids, and being from New York where people could be loud. Not me though, I'm from Long Island. And then also just being a little like animated and obnoxious and a little bit expressive. But like, if it's to the point where people are scared to talk to you, people are afraid to tell you that they disagree with something, people are just afraid to say anything to you, it's like, all right, something's going on. We need to reevaluate this. We also need to stop justifying and stop making excuses as to like why we're lashing out and why we're angry at certain things in people. Like, yeah, some things are justifiable, but like some are not. Like, I love you, but like your attitude sucks. Or like, I love you, but like I am not about to be on the phone with you while you curse somebody out. Or I love you, but like, yeah, you just doing too much right now. So that's how I protect my peace. Now, on the flip side, you ever notice how like sometimes when like your friend or your family member, they had like a road rage incident and like they tend to drag it out for the entire day, like you're trying to move on from the topic and they're like, no, because this person, and it's like, move on. Why are you allowing somebody else to ruin your entire day? Or like a patient, for me, say for instance, and someone gets me upset, why are you allowing it to ruin your entire day? So now I have to deal with your attitude, or someone else has to deal with my attitude just because one person pissed me off. Being around certain people and being around certain environments, we normalize, like, you know what got me tight or that pissed me off. And like these are like the common conversation starters. And it's, listen, I feel like when I come back home, I start to get into that flow, and then I'm gonna have to take these same steps to like filter out like all of these things that are going on, because I do tend to get a little bit more triggered when I come back home to New York, because so many other people are triggered. The driving out here is crazy. Just like being so guarded in like different environments, it definitely puts me in a different type of space that I don't like to be in. But again, because I've been like constantly working on my emotions and controlling my emotions and things like that, it's not as bad, and I'm a little bit more self-aware, but it doesn't excuse me. Like, I am still susceptible to latching on to the anger and like all the emotions that I don't like. So this is not to say that I'm perfect at all. But we do not need 10 stories about why you were tight. Like, why you got so many stories about you being tight? Can we talk about something good? Where is the good news at? What made you smile today? What made you laugh today? Tell me something good. But like sometimes you get through that pattern where it's just like, no, this is what got me tight. This is what got me tight. And then it turns into a contest. Like, okay, where are we going now? People are going to get you upset. People are going to piss you off, unfortunately. But give it a moment, not a whole day. I have an example of the situation where I was working one day and then my manager at the time had said something to me that I didn't like. I walked out of work and like never went back. And I remember texting my best friend. I told the story in like another video. I ended up telling my best friend like how I was pissed off and that I was going to quit. Like, that's not okay. And the issue wasn't even whatever it was that my manager said in that moment. It was like other things that I had been bottling up that I never discussed, that I just suppressed and just held in. But stuff like that is not acceptable, especially if it's like a job that you cannot afford to lose. Thank God that wasn't the case. But being able to give yourself that moment to feel something, but then also giving yourself the space and the time. So working with like the right people matters, because in that moment that I was upset, I could have just said, give me a moment, I need space, and then came back. But like, I tried to validate my feelings and just left and never returned. When it comes to relationships, the same way. I just felt like how I feel is how I feel, and that's it. And that's not always the case, especially with women. Of course, we go through the motions, we go through the ups and downs, and being able to express yourself, give them a moment to express themselves, and then, yeah, if you need the space, take the space. But like, don't allow something to get you upset to the point where it's a point of like no return. Yeah, there are some things that are not going to be 1 minute, 2 minutes. Maybe something's going to take a day or two. Like, I had recently went through a situation or a conversation with someone close to me where we got into a little argument, I guess, and that caused us to like not speak or see each other for like 3 days. And when we did meet up and have a conversation, which was yesterday, we noticed that our communication styles are a little bit different. And like the way that we were angry, I don't want to say that the reason for being angry, I don't want to say that it was invalid, but like it was just something that got out of control. Now, had we been able to express ourselves in a way where this is how I feel, this is how you made me feel, and this is, what the situation was, and there's like some type of structure. This sounds so corny, but realistically, like, we have to grow up. We have to be able to have conversations with our people. And it didn't, again, I'm not perfect. It didn't happen in that moment, but when we went back, the 3 days after, it was just like an easier conversation to have, because if you really do care for somebody, eventually it's going to kick in like, all right, it was just unnecessary how that happened. Had it been the old me, that situation would have been enough reason for me to like cut them off. And it's like really somebody that I care about. So like, why even put myself or put that strain on the friendship if it's not necessary over a miscommunication or just a minor disagreement? And to be honest, I do kind of feel like it was my fault. I started to realize that me being defensive and me shutting down and like all of that things was just definitely um, my trauma showing up, a defense mechanism, me wanting to be guarded and cold, and it just wasn't necessary. Again, I had to realize like the people that truly cared for me aren't people that are going to hurt me, and that it is worth feeling how I feel, but then also quickly turning around and being able to express myself. Being around the right friendships, being in the right friendships, being in the right relationships are like so important, because I feel like, as a woman, of course I can't speak for a man. For me, that might feel very strongly about certain things, it's very important for me to be around like a man or a person that is like very calm, cool, and collective, that is able to like hear me out and then also say their piece very calmly as well. Like, for me, I don't need somebody that is going to match my energy or get just as angry as I am. So those are things that you also need to take into consideration. Like, some people are not worth the argument. Some people are like not worth the relationship, and understanding like how you are and the type of person that you need in your life, like taking those things into consideration too. Like, there's no reason to meet fire with fire. Like, and I had to understand that I wouldn't be able to be in a long relationship or friendship with someone who is trying to be combative with me, who's being antagonizing, and someone who's easily angered. Like, that is not, I can't do that. It also puts you in compromising positions. Like, if you ever go out with someone who's easily angered and, someone pisses them off. So now I have to worry about fighting. Now I have to worry about pulling you out of this place. Like, I can't see myself doing that as a 30 plus person. Like, 33 plus person. I can't see myself doing that, and it's like I don't want to put myself in those type of situations. So these are things that you have to take into consideration. I'm not going out with people that I have to like watch my back around, or like I never know what they're going to say. I don't never know what type of situation they're going to put me in. Like, I am not putting myself in those type of compromising positions. I never really did, but I'm for sure not going to do that as an adult. Like, we have to learn how to control our emotions. And if you can't, I don't want to be around you. If I can control it. Once I realized that it was okay to feel a way, but understand that not all of the feelings that you feel are valid, or like not all of the feelings that you feel are meant to have some type of action behind it that is like cutting somebody off. That is the reason why I wrote this, Getting Your Feelings But Get Out Quickly, because I would be quick to get upset and then also be quick to like cut somebody off. That was me. Like, relationship, not as much friendships at the time, but like relationships, yeah, you pissed me off, you're getting cut off. And that's just like not realistic, and it's not cute at all. And I feel like there's so much power to being able to understand what is going to get you to that level of anger, or what is getting you to that point, and just saying like, you know what, I need a moment, I'm going to back away, give me a second, I'm upset, I don't want to talk at this moment, let me gather my thoughts. Just like recognizing like, yeah, I feel a way, and me engaging in this conversation right now is like not the best thing to do. I care about my character way much more. I don't want to be known as the person that just blacks for no reason. I don't want to be the person known for like having an attitude all the time, being upset all the time. Like, no, I want to be known as somebody that is like cool, calm, a person of integrity, a person that is able to communicate themselves when they get angry. And that is like one way that you can think about like, how do you want to show up, and how have you been showing up, and what is it that you can do to show up in a better way. And it takes practice, again, especially because you've been like this way for such a long time, it's going to take some time as well and some practice to be able to like unlearn and undo these things. Your environment matters. It's very hard for you to like stop doing the things when you're already in the unhealthy environment. Easier said than done, because again, I didn't realize my patterns until I stepped outside of what was fueling me, which was like New York and my home. I love my family and I love my friends, but there were certain situations and certain people that were like not making me a better person or not adding to the person and the characteristic traits that I wanted to have as an adult, a respectable adult. I also remember one time I was working and I was going through like all of these emotions. I don't even remember what I was going through, but a patient made me cry on the phone. They made me cry. I was going like through a lot at the time, and whatever they said, they made me cry. And it was like, was my feelings valid? Yeah, it was. And I wasn't going to act like I was okay. I think what I ended up doing was just like taking a moment to breathe and understand like, why do I feel so emotional about this situation? Like, yeah, they said what they said, but one, I don't know them, and two, it just shows the type of person they are, and like, what can I do in this moment to like turn it around? And I think I just like kind of told my coworker. That's why I said it's important to like work with certain people, because I was able to tell my coworker like, hey, I'm not feeling the best right now and I just need a moment, and they just said okay. But sometimes I understand that you're not in the best work environment and you're probably not able to do things like that. Finding out the best way for you to regulate yourself and get yourself back to like that peace level is needed, and it's important. So I'm never going to say that that is always the case or that it's easy for you to do. It's not, but just like finding the best way for you to bring yourself back down and regulate yourself to where you need to be, so you're not ruining the rest of the day. You're not ruining your conversation with your friends and family after you go home, and just like, you don't need to crash out. I don't want people dodging my phone calls. I don't want people dodging me in person. Like, I know we all know that one person that like when you see their name, if when you see them coming, you're just like, oh gosh, here they come. They just be doing too much. I don't want to be known as that person. I know people like that, and I don't want to be known as that person. That enough should be good enough for you to be like, yeah, no, we need to get this in order. And I'm not saying again that you should care what people think, but these are one of the things that you need to take into consideration about how people look at you, because eventually you're going to be looking around and realizing that nobody's answering your phone calls, nobody wants to hang out with you, and yeah, you could be a good time, but you could also be a dangerous time, and it's like we are getting too old for that. I would say the practice is like, anytime you feel that feeling in your chest or you feel it getting hot, take a breath, take a breather, step away, pause, whatever it is, put them on hold, tell them you'll call them back, go take a walk, go do something. It's not worth it. Regulate yourself down to get that heat off your chest. You got to get that off, because you never know what that's going to bring you to do. Whether it's just not good. It's not going to be good at all. Another thing that I tend to do is like, if something gets me upset, I talk very slowly. I get like monotone, and that'll be like if I'm probably speaking to a patient or not. And I remember there's times where like I'll just go quiet on the phone, but then I realize like that's like not acceptable. So I'll just talk like very slowly, very monotone, and like try to end the call as quickly as I can. Or even sometimes I'll give it to somebody else. Yeah, somebody else can handle this. Somebody else that has the capacity to do it. But in whatever field you're in, whatever situation you're in, you gotta slow down, stop, pass it on to somebody else, or just figure it out, because it's just, you're not trying to be another angry person out in the world. And with so many angry people out in the world, you want to be able to regulate yourself to when they're going crazy, you're not going crazy too. I did not want to be known as an angry black woman. I don't think it's attractive. It's not mature to just shut down and like completely shut down and never express yourself. I think there's moments where you need to just take some time again, but schedule time to come back to it. Don't just like drop it off and never come back to it. I don't think that that helps relationships at all. And how I learned to do that is I learned from a coworker actually how to express myself when she was angry. I used to watch her go back and forth with the patient, and I knew, because I knew her, that she was getting upset, but she was still able to articulate herself while she was upset. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's possible. I need to learn how to do that. And that's really how I did it. Like, I watched other people communicate while they were angry, and I was just like, okay, I'm just going to practice. Instead of shutting down every time that I'm upset, I'm going to try and talk through it. And as time went on, I just kind of got better. So I started practicing with patients. I started practicing with like friends, family. I just started to practice, and it sounds like ridiculous, but it truly works for me. I think it's so mature. I think it's so attractive. I think it's just very beautiful to not allow people to get you to that point of anger, and for you to still feel a way but not let it allow how you are able to communicate to people when you're feeling how you're feeling. I don't want to be the parent that like blacks on my child for every little thing. I will be blacking on them from time to time, but I don't think that it's necessary for you to black on your children for everything and just go crazy for everything. I don't feel like it's necessary to be loud for everything to get things done. I just don't want to do that. Um, so trying to practice that now rather than when the time comes, I think it will make it so much easier. Um, Trying to learn something in frustration at the moment and apply it in the moment is not easy. So that's why I'm just like, okay, I want to get that practice in now. And this is why I wanted to talk on the topic now, because realizing that now, so that I don't know, by next year, by the end of the year, you can realize like there's some improvement on how you've been able to communicate, or just communicating at all when you're upset instead of shutting down. Don't shut down. Let's not do that anymore. I saw it, I admired it, and I practice it. But just a reminder, like just because you grew up a certain way and because you are used to reacting haphazardly, it doesn't mean that you have to do that. Moving forward, you can still unlearn and learn certain things. I think it's beautiful when like people that are older, even like 30 plus, because if you've been living with your parents for 18 years, let's just say, that's still a long time for you to learn something. So still being able to like unlearn things and learn new ways to communicate with people, because you don't just automatically never have to communicate with people ever again. It's always something that you could learn and improve, for yourself and the people around you. I think that you could improve relationships around you. You could improve so many different things. Put yourself in different environments, whether it's working, or just being able to be in different communities. Even if it's church, those people are going to get you tight too. So it doesn't matter where you go, you're going to interact with people that are going to disappoint you eventually, and communicating with them even when you feel that way is something that you should be able to do. Be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. I just wanted to take the time again to thank everybody for watching this video. I hope you were able to receive and write something down from this video. If you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and do that. Feel free to comment. Feel free to contact me if you have any questions. Just remember, we're friends, we're family, like we're getting to know each other. We're locking in for the next couple of months. So thank you for watching. See you again next week.